There is a can in your grocery store that has survived 2 world wars, a presidential disdain, and 70 years of relentless mockery. Blue and yellow, wedged between the soups and the beans. You've walked past it 100 times. Mystery meat, people call it. The punchline that never ages. But here's what almost nobody says out loud. The food that became the global joke might be one of the most honest processed products ever manufactured. Spam has 6 ingredients. 6. Your average breakfast sausage has more fine print than that. Before you walk past that blue can one more time, let's look at what is actually inside it. Nobody actually knows what Spam stands for. That is not a rumor. It is a documented fact. Hormel Foods, the company that has made Spam since 1937, has never officially confirmed what the name means. The leading theory, spiced ham. Another candidate, shoulder of pork and ham. A third holds that J. Hormel invented it as a portmanteau of both. He ran a naming contest and paid $25 to the winner. That person was never publicly identified. The name stuck. Look at the label. Pork with ham, salt, water, modified potato starch, sugar, sodium nitrite. That is the complete ingredient list for classic Spam, unchanged since 1937. Most people assume there is something hidden. Fillers, chemicals. The name mystery meat implies something deliberately obscured. But compare it to the average hot dog, which can legally contain organ meats, dextrose, corn syrup, and a paragraph of preservatives. Spam's label, by comparison, is almost austere. The mystery is that there is no mystery. It started with a surplus. In 1937, Hormel had more pork shoulder than they could move. The tough, fatty cut that butchers couldn't sell was piling up in cold storage. J. Hormel needed to turn a low-value cut into something people would willingly buy. His answer: grind it, season it, blend it with ham scraps, seal it in a can, and cook it. The result wasn't glamorous, but it was cheap, it was shelf-stable, and it worked. Then the war came. When the United States entered World War II, the military faced a problem with no obvious answer. How do you feed millions of soldiers across multiple continents, in jungles, deserts, and the holds of cargo ships, with no refrigeration and no reliable supply chain? Spam was the answer nobody had planned for. No refrigeration needed. Sealed in its own container. Capable of surviving a Pacific crossing. The U.S. military shipped over 100 million pounds of Spam to Allied forces worldwide. That military shipment didn't just feed soldiers. It introduced Spam to entire populations for the first time. In the United Kingdom, where rationing had turned protein into a luxury, Spam filled a gap no other product could. In the Philippines, South Korea, Okinawa, wherever American forces went, the blue cans followed. And when the war ended and the soldiers went home, the cans stayed. Spam didn't conquer those cultures through advertising. It conquered them through necessity, and then through taste. Here's the contradiction. Spam's bad reputation was built in America by the soldiers who ate it 3 times a day for years on end. They came home exhausted by it and made sure everyone knew it was beneath them. They were not wrong about their experience, but the countries that received Spam by necessity tell a different story entirely. South Korea treats it as a premium gift. Hawaii built an icon around it. The joke food is a cultural staple on 4 continents. Chosen freely, eaten gladly. Let's talk about what actually happens inside a Spam factory. Pork shoulder and ham arrive as whole cuts. They are trimmed, inspected, and fed into grinders that reduce them to a consistent paste. Salt, sugar, water, and a measured dose of sodium nitrite are blended in. The nitrite keeps Spam pink and prevents bacterial growth, the same compound used in every strip of bacon and cured ham you've ever eaten. The blended mixture is pumped directly into cans. The can is not just a container. It is the entire preservation system. Once sealed under vacuum, each can goes into an autoclave, a pressure cooker that brings the contents to 180 degrees Fahrenheit for a precise interval. Every pathogen eliminated, every spoilage bacterium, every biological threat. The result, shelf-stable for 3 to 5 years, no refrigeration required. That gel at the bottom of the can, natural meat juices, congealed when cooled, nothing added, nothing synthetic. Nowhere did Spam take deeper root than Hawaii. During World War II, Hawaii was under martial law. Fishing was restricted, fresh protein was scarce. Spam was rationed to civilians. A generation grew up eating it as a staple. Today, Hawaii consumes over 7 million cans a year, more per capita than any other state. Spam musubi, grilled spam on rice, wrapped in seaweed, is as embedded in Hawaiian culture as any dish that predates the war. Think about the other processed meats in your refrigerator. Deli turkey often contains carrageenan, phosphates, artificial flavors. Hot dogs, organ meats, corn syrup, a list of compounds you cannot pronounce. Spam, pork, ham, salt, water, starch, sugar, one preservative. The food known as mystery meat is, ingredient for ingredient, more transparent than most of the processed protein Americans consume every week. It just never had good PR. The scale of Spam's global reach is hard to absorb. More than 8 billion cans sold since 1937. 44 cans purchased somewhere in the world every single second. Spam is sold in 44 countries. Produced in 4 factories on 2 continents. Available in more than 15 flavor varieties. It is one of the most recognized food brands on Earth, not despite its reputation, but because of it. There is a category in food science, mechanically separated meat, bones forced through a sieve to recover the last scraps of protein. Spam doesn't use that process. The pork in Spam comes from whole muscle cuts, shoulder and ham, the same categories found at any butcher counter. That doesn't make Spam a health food. But the mystery was always more about image than what's actually inside the can. Here's the most counterintuitive part of this story. Spam's greatest enemy was its own success. World War II soldiers ate it 3 times a day, for years, under conditions with no resemblance to how food is meant to be enjoyed. They came home and made sure everyone knew it was beneath them. It was in the shame of a post-war country trying to forget what it had depended on to survive. The rationing, the desperation, the blue cans. 44 cans per second. 8 billion since 1937. A product born from desperation, carried by war, rejected by one culture, embraced by a dozen others. Still running. That blue and yellow can has outlasted empires, economic crises, and 70 years of jokes. It's why we spent so long pretending there was something to hide. The mystery was never in the can.